All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Go and check out its local search and its city search. See if they got BSS for any of them or both of them. So we're back here in the GBC universe, taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that. Pinned video, homepage, whatever. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So it's our full intent ladder. High intent over on the left, low intent over on the right. So for Ryzen, we're probably bringing in peeps from this entire intent ladder, high to low intent, making them aware of us, bringing them into us. And if we're falling, then we're missing some chunks of people somewhere. So again, F6 explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. That's why it's our North Star. So here we talk about BSS, boudoir search sameness. Well, we'll get into that. That's all about over on the left side, the highest intent peeps, people searching for boudoir photo shoots in our city right now across social search on social media, and on Google. Then over on the right, the lowest intent peeps, that's where we deal with our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, our other profiles. We talk about BLCS, and right now we only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. And Facebook ads is going to the lowest intent people, which is actually the highest volume of people in that ever exist in one time in a city. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots, I mean, dude, we're dead because we already know approximately 80% of all Google searches only stay on page 1. They don't even make it to page 2. So this is the bulk of the market, approximately 80%. And we actually, this is the cohort we care about. The other 20%, I mean, they're clicking off to page 10, you know, pages 1 through 10, so we don't care about them. We care about being visible, most visible to the 80% that never leave page 1. So 0 slot if we're on page 2, basically dead. 80% won't even find us. For our 1 slot, we're essentially dead as well because we look the same as every other boudoir photographer who also has 1 slot on page 1, and there's going to be 9 others, or at least there's 10 organic slots. So, and any buyer goes to page 1, goes literally just going to click open everyone's, contact everyone, and basically they ain't even going to hit page 2. So we're really being compared against everyone on page 1 of Google search. And we also know that 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. It's extremely common. Everyone accepts it as normal, but it's not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are one everyone knows about, which is market saturation, and 2, one basically nobody knows about, which is the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, peeps know that. It's when someone gets a new iPhone, and we see them throw up basically throw up a Google My Business profile, a website saying they now shoot boudoir, or they get a new camera, they post in the mom group saying they now do boudoir. And so that's market saturation. Also, a big tsunami of this came when COVID hit. People lost their jobs. People still needed to earn money. A ton of boudoir photographers entered the marketplace, made it way more competitive. Page 1 on Google to get clients, market saturation, force people out. That normally happens after people get relegated to page 2 or deeper. But the most important thing here is the false belief of page 1 equality. This is the number one killer of boudoir photography businesses, is believing that everyone's every boudoir photographer gets, like 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. And, if my website was there, I was on page 1, but then market saturation happened, it pushed me to page 2. Well, that's simply how it works. All right, I'm at 0 slots on page 1 now, and I'm at 1 slot on page 2. That's simply how it is. Hopefully the new people delete their website, so maybe I can get back on page 1. Because right now I'm invisible. Only 20% of people are even coming to page 2. But no, that's totally false. It's a false belief because Google actually gives as many page 1 slots as one wants to put in the effort to acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search in 10 days using this new solution we've developed. So we first got to break out of the mental trap, kind of mental cage. We need to understand that page 1 equality is a false belief. That is just, we get 0, 1 slots, and that's how it is. That's how it is for every boudoir photographer. False, incorrect. And this goes for social search as well. We can take as many slots as we want, put in the effort to acquire. Now, we also know that a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. And that's because, if we're relegated to page 2 of search on social networks or on Google, we already know approximately 80% of searchers are never seeing us, which means, we're disappearing fast. And it's kind of a canary in the coal mine. If we have BSS, we're a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means, you know, the countdown clock is on to when our boudoir photography entire business disappears as well. So we're building up our micro universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. But if we break through that false belief of page one equality, uh, see it for what it is, that it's false, that it's not true, it's not real, it's made up, we can actually have a chance to use our new solution because we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S cubed methodology that we invented. And again, this is what I use to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in 10 days. So this works by exactly what it says. We saturate the social search with the highest intent keywords. And this actually, as we do that more and more and more, this flows. It's kind of like all the little rivers, that flow into the Amazon. As we saturate social search more and more and more and more for the highest intent keywords, that eventually flows on down into Google, or rank in page 1, which is still where it's like 89, 90% of search happens still on Google. And that is our S cubed methodology. Special thing about this, dude, S cubed methodology is the only thing that I've seen that can successfully fight against market saturation, that we can implement fast. The only other second option I've seen that we cannot implement fast is having a brand. That takes years, maybe even decades. But S cubed methodology, we'll be seeing results way, way, way quicker than that. And it's the only thing that I've seen that can successfully fight against market saturation. Because imagine if we're in Wichita, Kansas, there's a million boudoir photographers. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website. Everyone's trying to rank on page 1 on Google. But if we S cubed methodology hard enough, we saturate social search to all our competitors. Let's say we take the first 300 slots in social search on all the platforms, and all our competitors are relegated to, the slot 301 or after. Same on Google, which means it's 10 organic slots per Google page. So that means 30 pages we tick up. Gotta go to page 31 to find our competitor. Is our business growing, treading water, or declining in a marketplace with 1 million boudoir photographers where we dominate the first 300 search results on all platforms? Obviously, ours is growing. We're the fastest growing business. Even if there's 900, there's 999,999 other boudoir photographers competing against us. So that's just if we, turbo max out S cube methodology. And so again, it essentially kind of makes it like market saturation no longer matters because we're kicking everyone off page 1. That's the most important thing because we know approximately 80% of Google searchers never go to page 2. So we care about the bulk of the market here, which means the minimum, we got to kick as many people off page 1 as possible. Now, once we treat our BSS with S cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility. So we can finally be seen on page 1, not look like everyone else. And a bonus of this is every new slot we take on page 1, we are kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. And as a result, they're on page 2. They're effectively invisible, man, because only 1 out of 5 Google searches will ever find them. I mean, they're disappearing boudoir photographer. Their boudoir photography business will disappear soon enough. So it's kind of a bonus of X cubed and S cubed. And this is the same thing on social networks as well, but kind of focusing more clearly on Google right now. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So this means we don't have 0 slots on Google, page 1 on Google. We don't have 1 slot on page 1 on Google. And ideally, we don't even have 2 slots on page 1 on Google. Our GBC minimum we want to hit is 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google for local search and city search. Because at 3 out of 10 slots, we've kicked off 2 out of 3 peeps from page 1 instantaneously. Also, everyone else will probably only have 1 slot. So we're 3v1 again against them. People are going to say, oh, why is Google recommending this person so much? They'll most likely be more inclined to click on us instead of any of the others. And there's a tiny minuscule chance someone else may have 2 slots, but our 3 slots will still beat them. We'll be seen as more prominent than them. So we got it. That activates boudoir search visibility for us. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So we gotta become visible. That's the way we can guarantee we're not disappearing. So this is our micro universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. And we now have a solution, S cubed methodology, which we invented. We achieve page one visibility, and we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. So it's our full micro universe. And now some results of me using S cubed methodology because I invented it. So I want to rank for term BLCS boudoir. So we go down organic. Let's go to the organic slot. So we got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10 is me. So this is what I did. I went from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots. Page 1 of Google in 10 days. Kicked out everyone else here. I took it over. And if someone searches my keyword BLC, BLCS boudoir here, who are they clicking on? They probably won't even need to scroll past number 5. They're like, okay, it's all the same dude. I don't need to scroll past position 5. I'm simply gonna click on his organic search result. So this is the power of SQ's methodology for the keyword that I wanted to rank for. All right, now we're here at the main event here. I'm gonna see this boudoir photography business. Gonna check its local search and its city search. See if see if we got BSS for any of these searches. So we're heading to Oak Ridge and Jefferson. All right, we're in Oak Ridge. No data. We still got it loaded. All right, boom, we got 1. Boom, we got 2. Boom, we got 3. All right, boom, we got 4. Boom, we got 5. We got 6. We got 7. We got 7. We got 7. All right, really, really good. So we got 7 out of 10. All right, so we got 7 out of 10 for local. Let's see for city. Let's see what we got. Let's see, we're looking for. All right, so we got 0 out of 10 for the city, Jefferson. All right, so local, we got 7 out of 10. We did not have BSS. We did reach the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. We almost got the dominant page 1 designation, but that only happens at 8 out of 10 slots or higher. It's good for local and city. Always hard to rank for what 0 out of 10 for city. So yes, we do have BSS, and no, we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got BSS, you did your local search and your city search, and you saw, you only got either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google, and or you have not hit the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And you understand the page 1 equality belief, and now you're like, oh yeah, obviously that's false, when we didn't really even think about it before, because now we see how I got 9 out of 10 on page 1 on Google organic search results. And you understand the market saturation, yeah. New iPhones, new boudoir photographers, new camera, new boudoir photographers. But you're also seeing AI take more and more people's jobs, and you're like, okay, like COVID brought in a flood of boudoir photographers. AI is taking more people's jobs, probably gonna bring in a flood of boudoir photographers as well. So you want to prepare for the influx of supply of sellers by kind of fortifying your page 1 Google presence. So essentially never allow those people joining to show up page 1 on Google. And you see SQ's methodology, and you're like, yes, finally, I've been waiting for something like this. So you want to use SQ's methodology to achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, achieve boudoir search visibility. And also you want the back-end bonuses of using SQ's methodology as well, which we haven't talked about yet, we'll talk about now, which is we're basically building thematic keyword columns via social and on Google that are kind of columns plugged into our brand, our basically the name of our business, our social handles. And those thematic keyword columns, guess what? They increase the probability we show up here in the AI overview. They increase the probability we show up in AI search like ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. Increase in the probability there. And last time I did ChatGPT search for boudoir photographers in the city, recommended me, it only gave me 3. And AI search is increasing every single day. More and more people use an AI search every single day. Still, Google is about 90% search volume. But we're kind of pre-positioning ourselves AI search, which S-Cube methodology helps with. And kind of once we build this kind of back-end invisible momentum, these thematic keyword columns that plug into all these, basically prevent people ranking on page 1 against us and build up keep building up and increase our probability of showing up across all these AI searches. And you decide you want to be a first mover because this has got to get done. Start building up this momentum because again, ads momentum goes to 0 when you stop spending. This momentum will continue ongoing. Basically, these have momentum, not infinite momentum, but you decide you want to start the momentum, and then keep growing the momentum, actually dominate page 1. And you also see that the further you put yourself ahead of the competition now, when AI starts basically kind of forcing people to become boudoir photographers, you'll be well positioned to be unaffected by it because you've already built up page 1 domination, which is like, dude, that's like 7 out of 10 slots or more. Page 1 Google, 8 out of 10 slots or more. And being recommended AI search, putting distance between you and everyone else. And you want to basically guarantee that you put so much distance, nobody can catch up. Instead of a competitor working with me, where plan right now is to only work with 1 person per city. Instead of a competitor getting all these kind of momentum bonuses and page 1 slots where then you would have to actually, if I were to continue work with them, you would have to rederive the S-cubed methodology on your own, figure out how to actually get it to work. And then you will never actually know if you're doing it correctly, how we've done it. And then kind of you'd have to equal our output to maintain the distance kind of behind your competitor that I could be working with. And you'd have to kind of double our output to actually make up that lost ground and build back up the momentum and take it from us. So you've decided, well, it's better to simply become the first mover here. So we get all the benefits, none of the drawbacks. So if you want all these benefits, shoot me a DM when I open for new patient intake. I'm not currently open for new patient intake, so even if you want to work with me, you cannot. But when I do open up the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify.